Wait for it to stop. All right. All right, guys, welcome. Hopefully you had a good weekend. We were just having a little talk about how tall everybody is. It would be really cool just to like see you guys in person to kind of see exactly like how tall you are and stuff like that. And some of you never get on camera, so which is fine. I'm not saying anything, but it's kind of fun just to get to know you a little bit more, that kind of stuff. Okay, so let me just flip over to the next one. Just remember that this session will be recorded for learning purposes. And yeah, that's about it on that end of things. Okay, I'm going to go into our course real quick so you can see it. Remember the first page, I always put the recordings on the first page just so you have access, easy access to those. If you go to the calendar, we're winding down. I can't believe, man, winter break is right here. 22nd. Is everybody looking forward to that? Oh, yeah. Okay. So winter break's coming up. So we have this class, and we'll have our assignment that's due Friday. I'm going to probably be zeroing everything out this Friday, okay? Yeah, it does start on Wednesday. I wish it would have been the 20th, but that's okay. It's all right. But I want you to get your final exam done in this class by the 17th, just so you can have all of this break, right? If you want to, if you take it and you're caught up in everything, look, you don't have to do anything until we start the next block, which is like, I think it's actually Tuesday the 11th. I think this is a some type of holiday. I didn't put it in there, but the end of the block's the 7th. So I'm going to be submitting grades on the 7th. So you can see if you are behind, you do have time to catch up, right? But everything will be zeroed out the 17th, so you'll know your exact grade there. And we're basically at the end of the class, okay? No longer being paid. All right, very good. Okay, so let me just show you right here. You'll have the Nearpod link there if you want to go through it by yourself. If you're going to go through it with us right now, I just put it in the chat, the link, the live one in the chat there. And then I will go through how we do our assignment today. It's really not that hard, but I gave you all the way until Friday to do it, like always. Okay, so that's kind of where we are. Just remember classroom expectations, right? Try to follow along with the Nearpod. Use the chat tools respectfully and appropriately, and then also response to questions the first time so we can keep a nice flow and keep rolling through the classes we're going through here. All right. Okay. I am going to go back just real quick. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about political systems in the U.S. Now, I know politics is one of those things that people maybe want to avoid and not talk about, but it is an important part of geography, okay? Because to be able to understand a country, you need to understand how their politics work. Like if you go over to Europe, they have what's called a parliamentary system, where basically they could call elections at almost any point in time, and a new leader could be put up at any point in time, and things change really, really fast. In the United States, what we're going to focus on today is the politics, a little bit of the United States. Just so you're aware, I'm not going to be going over like any we're going to be talking about this hot topic or issue and have a big debate. We're not going to do that. All I'm going to do is just kind of roll through the different types of the different parties that we have in the United States. And then it's up to you to decide what you want to do with your own political ideology, if anything, right? And I've had a bunch of people say on here, well, I'm not doing this assignment because I'm not political. Well, you're being political by being what's called apolitical, right? Which means not participating in the thing. So we all do have some type of, I guess, preferences on political side. I'm not really trying to here to push or show my views at all. I'm just simply sharing some information, okay? And I'll let you decide. Okay, so this is the objective. So basically, given Google Forms, students will take the political ideology quiz and put the political scale in which the quiz identifies them as with 80% accuracy across one trial. I'll show you how to do it. It's really easy. You just have to answer some questions and they'll say, hey, you are this, and then you just put it in there. Super easy, and you get credit for it. Okay. So one thing about America is we are what we call a divided kind of country, right? The way that the Constitution was set up leaned itself to only have two parties. If we talked about Europe and their parliamentary system, they have a whole bunch of different parties, and you actually just vote for a party rather than you do a candidate. But in the United States, we vote for candidates, and you can kind of see up here, this is what I feel like a lot when I listen to it. The yip, 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 nope, nope, nope. Okay. I have no idea, right? The two major parties we're going to be talking about are the Democratic and Republican Party, but there are third parties in the United States. They do not have a lot of power, but they do have some influence, a very little bit of influence. Okay, we're going to watch this video real quick about political parties.
There are two main political parties in the United States, the Republicans and the Democrats. What is a political party? Why are there only two main parties? A political party is a group of people who have joined together because they share common principles, common beliefs, and common values, and they seek to control government by winning elections. Members of a party work to convince the government to adopt laws, regulations, and programs which reflect their party's beliefs. Political parties have a long history, both in the United States and in other countries as well. The United States has what is known as a two-party system. A two-party system is a political structure in which only two political parties have a genuine chance of winning elections. However, it does not mean that only two parties are allowed to exist, as there are numerous other smaller parties. The two-party system developed in Great Britain. In the latter half of the 1600s and throughout the 1700s, two political parties, the Whigs and the Tories, emerged and established themselves as the dominant parties. This long-standing tradition of two main parties probably led to the eventual adoption of a similar system in the United States. Initially, the Founding Fathers intended for the American government to avoid politics. In fact, in his farewell address, George Washington warned against the existence of political parties, suggesting that such organizations were the enemies of government and would only distract government from its intended purpose. However, early political disagreements gave rise to the Federalist Party and the Democratic-Republican Party. Since that time, the United States has nearly always had two dominant parties. Currently, the two main political parties in the United States are the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. Every political party has what is known as a platform. A platform is a public statement of the party's main beliefs and guiding principles. Each of the stated principles of a platform is known as a plank. Party platforms can be rather lengthy, with modern parties having hundreds of planks. The party will adopt or update its platform every 4 years at the party's national convention. Political parties serve a wide variety of purposes. One of the most important functions a party serves is to nominate candidates. This helps a voter narrow his or her choices. Instead of voters studying a potentially limitless field of candidates, each party selects nominees. This allows the voter to focus attention on just 3 or 4 candidates and make a more informed decision. Another function of political parties is to inform voters. Whether it's through local, grassroots involvement such as letter writing campaigns, or party leaders speaking on television, parties attempt to let the general public know what's going on. This could also take the form of passing out flyers or pamphlets, or staging a large protest rally. The party that is in power can also set the agenda. This means that the party leaders will establish a course for the nation to follow. Whether it's a good course or a bad course would likely determine how long that particular party stayed in power. One final function of political parties is to serve as watchdog. Both parties do an effective job of watching the other party to make sure they are doing the things they are supposed to. If one party becomes corrupt, the other will surely inform the public. So, even though the Founding Fathers did not desire political parties to exist, they will surely continue to be a part of the American political system for years to come.
All right, so that tells us a little bit about the two political parties, but let's just recap some stuff here, okay? So one, political parties, as he talked about, is a group of voters with common interests who want to influence the government. Okay, the U.S. has two-party system because there are only two main parties that hold most of the power. So the function of political parties, they are to nominate candidates. So we saw in this last election, the last presidential election, we had the Republican Party chose President Donald Trump. He was looking to run for a second term. And then they had Vice President, now President Joe Biden, as the Democratic nominee. So what they do is they ensure that the candidates are qualified for what it is. They help govern in Congress and the state legislatures. They act as watchdogs, especially for the other's party. So that's why you always say, well, they're doing this and they're doing that. They feel like they need to do that a lot. So here's an interesting map to look at. And this is why third parties are important, can be important. So this race was against 3 different candidates. Okay, this was in 1992. So Bill Clinton was actually running as a Democrat, so he'd be considered as the blue. And then you had President H.W. Bush was trying to run for a second term. That's the father of George W. Bush. And then you also had a third-party candidate called Ross Perot. Now, what happened is overall, Ross Perot took so much of the vote in certain states that it changed it from being a possible red state, like, for example, Georgia and Louisiana, to a blue state. And that is how President Clinton got elected, was because Ross Perot took those votes mainly from George H.W. Bush. Okay, let's talk about the different political parties a little bit. So you have the Republican Party. The Republican Party has only been around since slavery. It was born from the dispute over slavery, and President Abraham Lincoln was actually the first Republican president, and they were against slavery. What they do is they tend, as of right now, hold on real quick. Somebody's doing the message thing. They tend to right now have a stronger state government. They think there should be more local control rather than federal control. They're less apt to change and they're more traditional. They want less taxes on the rich because they believe in something called trickle-down economics, meaning that if the wealthy are more wealthy, they're going to put more money into the economy, and then instead of taxing them, right, it'll go down like that. Less government spending, and their symbol is the elephant. And here are some prominent members of the Republican Party through the time. The last main one was President Trump. These are a little bit old, as you can see. I've been teaching this class for a while. Okay. The next political party that we're going to talk about is the Democratic Party. It has roots in the Jefferson Democratic Republican Party. They tend to support, so these were at the very beginning of the country. So the Democratic Party is a lot older than the Republican Party. It used to be the Bull Moose Party that was the other big party in the United States. And then it changed to the Republican Party. So House roots in the Jefferson, it tends to support stronger federal government. So they want more federal government control. So you think about this way. With like the COVID-19 pandemic that's going on, Democrats would rather have the federal government make like a mandate throughout the country rather than the local leaders making the contract. So that would be a difference between having federal control versus state or local control. They want more change. They are more in favor of taxing the rich and then spending more on government and social programs like welfare. And their symbol is the donkey. Here are some prominent Democratic leaders. You got John F. Kennedy, Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, Oprah Winfrey, Bill Clinton. I would say that now the mantle, I guess, of the Democratic Party has now been placed upon Joe Biden. So as I said, these are a little bit older slides. Okay, so what I want you to do is I want you to fill in the blank of which one goes where. So I'll give you guys a second to do that. Okay, hopefully you're getting those right. Okay. All right. And so this is just what we talked about before, right? Democrats, strong federal government, state, so forth. Okay. So third parties, okay. Usually they call themselves as independents. So they're an independent party. So basically a third party candidate, they usually do not win elections. However, there are some, okay? So for example, one of the most well-known independents is what he's labeled as, even though he does side with the Democrats on most of the stuff, is Senator Bernie Sanders. If you've ever heard of Senator Bernie Sanders, he is an independent and he runs as an independent, but he does associate himself with the Democratic Party. That's why he ran as a Democratic candidate for president. But they rarely win elections, okay? However, they can affect the outcome of elections that we saw, like in the NAP. The reasons they fail is they don't have enough votes to get on the ballot. They also have trouble raising money. They lack name recognition. So some that you may have seen before, like the Libertarian Party, the Green Party, the Reform Party. In the video, they also mentioned a couple others. Okay. So you don't need to really label yourself as one or the other. But they do have what they call right versus left. So if you're actually sitting in a congressional chamber, okay, so that means that you're basically, if you ever go down to the state legislature ever and see that, to the right, you have all the Republicans that sit on the right because they're more what they call right-leaning. And those that are sitting on the left are Democrats, are more left-leaning, okay? So people to the right seem to hold more traditional values. And then people to the people who support more of the left, or on the left, people support more change in society and want things to progress and move on. This also tends to go back towards the Constitution, that they want to, those of the right want like a strict interpretation of the Constitution, and the left want more of, well, society is changing, so the Constitution should evolve and change at the same time. Okay, that leads us to what we're going to be doing here. Okay, so I'm going to throw you guys out this link here. And this will be part of your assignment. So what you do is you go to your content here, you go to your assignment, and click on it. Once you click on it, it's going to come up with this right here. So the first question says, did you take the political ideology quiz at this link? So that's why you go to this link right here. And I just put that in the chat. And you scroll down and you click right here where it says quiz. Now on here, it will take you to the pewresearch.org, which is an organization that just basically goes over things. So you're just going to go start quiz. You do not need to put in anything. You don't have to put a name or anything, but it just has 16 questions. And what you do is you just go through them, and I'm just randomly clicking them, okay? And at the very end, it's going to give you what your ideology basically is. So I'm just going to run through this real quick so you can kind of see what it will tell me. Okay, so you go like this, and then it's going to tell you where you're at, okay? So this tells me I'm a faith and flag conservative. So all you got to do is copy that, put that in here, and submit it, okay? I do not want you to click through it like I did, okay? It's really interesting to kind of see where you lie out in. So please kind of do that on your own, right? Oh, I don't want that. So basically that's all you got to do, okay? And that is what your assignment is for this week. As well as, once you get to it, whenever you feel ready, if you go to there, we have the final exam that you can do whenever you want as well, okay? And of course, my thing's logged out, but that's all I got for you today. Do you guys have any questions? Anything you'd like me to go over more? Okay. All right, if you're good, just remember you need to get this done by Friday. Get the final exam done as soon as you can too, as soon as you feel comfortable doing it. And then you guys are done with the class. So I appreciate everybody for being here and enjoyed it. Thanks, everybody. I'll stick around for any questions.